What's up guys, Nathan here. Today we're going to talk about the top 5 reasons why perhaps you're losing at poker or not quite getting the results that you'd hoped for yet, and more specifically how to fix it, based off the conclusions that I've gathered from coaching hundreds of students at the small and mid stakes games, and also having been a professional poker player for over 10 years myself. These are the top 5 reasons why most people lose at poker and how to fix it. Alright guys, counting down from 5 to 1, here we go. So number 5, let's start off with a little bit more advanced one, which is hand reading. Now guys, hand reading is something that all good poker players know how to do, and by the way, I'm going to walk you through examples in a lot of the points in today's video just so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. But all good poker players understand the importance of hand reading, and basically this is putting your opponent on a range of hands. Now I want to be clear off the start guys, this is not like the Hollywood movies where they're putting that man on a hand. That's not how poker is played in the modern era, because we all know that when you're up against another person in a hand, you're playing against a range of hands. You're not playing against one specific hand. For example, they can have overpairs, they can have top pairs, they can have a flush draw, they can have a straight drop, or they can have nothing at all. This is the entire range of hands that they can have, unless you are some sort of mind-reading Houdini genius or you're just cheating. You don't actually know what hand they have. Let's get into the example here so you understand me a little bit better. So you have 2 red aces, ace of hearts and ace of diamonds, and you get raised on the river of 3 of spades, 6 of diamonds, 7 of hearts, 8 of clubs, and 10 of spades. Guys, versus a tight player, I can tell you without a doubt this is nearly always a set or a straight. So when it's a set, they have pocket 3s, pocket 6s, pocket 7s, pocket 8s, or pocket 10s. A set is also known as 3 of a kind. This is a very well hidden 3 of a kind with a pocket pair, and all of these absolutely beat pocket aces here, because guys, you need to remember that pocket aces is just one pair. 3 of a kind always beats one pair in poker. The other thing that hopefully you guys notice on this board is that if anybody has a 9 in their hand, they have a straight, and we don't have any 9s in our hand. And also there were other straights, for example 5-4 literally flopped a straight on this board. So guys, bottom line here, you need to understand that when a tight player raises you on the river here, they're literally never doing it with a worse one pair hand. Remember, all we have is one pair here. And a lot of people, by the way, will say to me, but Nathan, what if they have pocket aces, pocket kings, pocket queens, pocket jacks? Guys, the easiest way to defeat that argument right away is to understand the sequence of events that occurred in this hand. When we raise pre-flop and they just call, that almost always means that they don't have one of these strong premium hands, because these strong premium hands usually re-raised us before the flop, or they would have raised us on the flop or turn. So guys, take it to the bank. Trust me, from my 10 plus years experience as a professional poker player, when a tight player raises you on a river like this, you are literally never good with a one pair hand. The best thing you can possibly do here is fold your pocket aces right now. Alright guys, let's move on to reason number 4 that you might be losing at poker, and that is you're not floating aggressive poker players enough. Alright, so let me break this down for you. Floating in poker is when you are in position on the flop, turn, or river, meaning that you are getting to act last, and you make the call even with a weak hand in order to try to take away the pot later versus them. And that is extremely important, by the way. A lot of people float in poker without a clear plan, and as I talk about all the time in these videos, it is very, very important to not only have a plan for the hand, but also to understand that if they show any weakness later on, we are 100% going to be trying to take this pot away. So let me give you an example. Once again, you have ace king this time, ace of hearts, and king of spades, and by the turn the board reads the 10 of hearts, 8 of spades, 8 of clubs, and 7 of diamonds. So guys, if a loose and aggressive player makes another bet here, you should often call again here, and the reason why is because there are too many bluffs in their range. Let me give you just a couple examples of their bluffs here. Ace queen, ace jack, king queen, king jack. I could go on and on. These are just a couple of the hands that they could be bluffing with here. Also, they could be bluffing with lower pocket pairs, for example a pocket 6s, and it is really important to understand that on a paired board like this, if it comes with another 10 on the river, for example, our hand ace king actually plays in that situation situation, their hand is what we call counterfeited. Our ace plays and their pocket sixes are meaningless, and therefore we win the hand. So we've got counterfeit outs versus pocket pairs. We know that there's lots of bluffs in their range, and also crucially, this is the loose and aggressive poker player type who often is going to be making a lot of wild bluffs in situations like this, and that is why it is so important that you understand the 5 main poker player types. In fact, I break them down in extensive detail for you in my Elite Poker Training University course, 17 plus hours of advanced poker training, 200 plus example hands, 50 plus videos, downloadable cheat sheets, and more. I will leave a link to that in the description below. But guys, bottom line, you cannot let loose and aggressive players run you over in a situation like this. Let me tell you that this is the style of play that I personally play myself, and I get people to fold way too often in spots like this when they should be calling against me. Guys, understand that a player like this has a lot of bluffs and a lot of weaker hands in their range here. Ace King is still a very strong hand in this spot. Make the call and go play some poker on the river. All right, guys, let's move on to tip number 3 now, and that is to understand the incredible value of studying away from the tables. Guys, it literally blows my mind that there are so many poker players still in today's games that think that they know it all. They think that they have figured out the game of poker. They have climbed to the proverbial top of the mountain and they know it all. You can see them all over the internet in the comment sections. There's a lot of really confident poker players out there. But guys, the bottom line is that elite world-class poker players, they don't think this way. They understand that the game of poker is always evolving, always changing, and therefore they need to be evolving with it as well. So therefore they study their hands in a HUD software, for example. They read high-level poker books. They enroll in training courses. They hire coaches. I have hired multiple coaches throughout my entire professional poker career, both on the strategy and mental side of the game. I will link up everything that I suggest in the description below. But bottom line, guys, do not get an ego in this game. It is the end of so many poker players. I have seen so many of them come and go over the years because they thought they knew it all, and it ended up not turning out so well for them. So always be improving, guys, and you're gonna have a lot more success. All right, let's move on to tip number 2 now, and that is to always value bet top pair. So guys, good poker players, they always get full value with top pair. I literally wrote an entire book on this. It's called Crushing the Micro Stakes, my first poker book. I'll also link that up in the description below. But guys, value betting is the heart and soul of winning poker. And let me give you an example. Once again, you've got Queen Jack, the Queen of Hearts and Jack of Diamonds, on a river of 10 of hearts, Queen of Spades, 4 of clubs, 7 of diamonds, and 9 of hearts. Guys, if they check it to you here, you should be betting 50% of the pot. And the reason why you want to bet that amount is because we know that they have a lot of good second best hands here. For example, Ace 10, King 10, Jack 10, Jack 9, Pocket Jacks. These are all hands that we expect many different player types to show up with here on the river against us, that they're willing to make another call with. However, against good poker players, if you bet too much, for example, if you bet 80% of the pot, and by the way, what I mean by that is if the pot's, for example, $100, you bet $80, that'd be 80% of the pot. If you bet too much like that, a lot of good poker players will be able to fold a hand like Ace 10, for example, or King 10. And on the flip side, if you only bet $20 into the $100 pot, only betting 20%, you're just costing yourself money because we know that they probably would have called more. So I've often found that about 50% of the pot, so $50 into $100 in this situation, is often the sweet spot to get value versus all of these second best hands. Guys, bottom line, when you have top pair in poker, do not allow them to get a cheap showdown with a hand like middle pair or bottom pair, especially if you think that they would have paid off some amount, because this is literally the difference between winners and losers in today's games, where the edges are relatively small, where there's a lot of decent poker players today. You simply cannot afford to be allowing yourself to lose 3 big blinds, 5 big blinds, whatever amount it is on the river here. This is literally the difference between winning and losing at poker over the long run. Do not miss these value bets on the river with top pair. All right, guys, let's move on to my number 1 tip now to help people stop losing at poker, and that is to learn to quit early on what I call hell days. So guys, let me give you a little bit of wisdom, advice, what have you, from my 10 plus years as a professional in this game of poker. You are going to have many days at the table where there is absolutely nothing you can do to win. They're going to hit every flush on the river against you. When you hit middle pair, they're going to have top pair. I could go on and on. I think you guys have all been there. When you got 3 of a kind, they got a higher 3 of a kind. And sometimes, guys, this is going to happen, and it's going to happen all day long. And sometimes this can actually happen for weeks or months on end. And I've discussed that in other videos, but that's a little bit beyond the scope of this one. Let's just talk about individual days here, guys. When nothing is going right for you at the poker table, the number one thing that you can possibly do in this game is quit early on these days. I have seen so many poker players turn what is a routine loss into a disaster loss because they go on tilt and end up throwing away tons of money, which when they come back the next day and suddenly their luck turns around, as it always does in poker, they've lost so much on their big losing day that all of their profit doesn't make up for it. So guys, I know it might sound counterintuitive, but a big part of winning poker is just limiting your losses on all of your inevitable losing days. And please, if anybody ever tells you that you don't have losing days in poker, they're absolutely pulling your leg. I don't care if your name's Daniel Negreanu or insert the name of any famous poker pro here. They all have losing days, guys. They just don't tell you about it on social media. People love to brag about when they're winning. They don't talk so much about it when they're losing. But losing is an integral part of the game of poker. I have lost on many, many days throughout my poker career, and learning how to limit my losses has been a massive game changer. Understanding that I am not going to be playing my best, and when I am on tilt, that captain comeback almost never works, and that it doesn't matter what my day-to-day results are anyways, because I am playing this game for my results over the course of years and decades, not days, not weeks, and not months. So often when I'm having one of these really bad days, I will simply quit early for the day. I will go review my hands in a tracking software, for example. Once again, I'll link up all my recommendations in the description below, and I will simply come back with a fresh mind tomorrow, having limited my losses, so that when I come back tomorrow and hopefully win, those profits will be higher than my losses. And that's how you win in poker in a nutshell. Guys, I hope this one helped. Like and subscribe if it did. And if you want to know my entire strategy to beat the small stakes games, make sure you grab a copy of my free poker cheat sheet. That will be the top link in the description below. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. All the best at the poker tables.